My name is Martha Campbell. I'm 60 years old. And last week, I flew my very first flight as a licensed pilot. It still feels unreal to say it out loud. Me, a pilot, at 60? For most of my life, the sky was something I only looked at through a kitchen window, between stirring soup and folding laundry. I thought dreams like flying were for the bold, the young, the chosen, not for women like me, not for women who waited too long. But let me take you back. I was sitting alone in the house that used to echo with voices, my husband's voice, my kids, the dogs barking, but now it was quiet, too quiet. My husband, Frank, passed away the year before. Pancreatic cancer, quick and cruel. My children, grown, living states away with families of their own. I didn't blame them. Life moves. It should, but me, I didn't move at all. I woke up at 6:30 every morning, out of habit more than purpose. I made a cup of coffee, sat by the window, and watched planes fly overhead. There was a small airport not far from our house, and every few hours one would appear gliding through the blue, its silver belly shining in the sun. I'd always wondered what it felt like up there, what it felt like to leave the ground, to rise, instead of sink. One morning, sometime in late March, I saw a small plane go by, not a commercial one. This one looked personal, intimate, like it belonged to someone who flew not for work, but for love. Something inside me stirred. It wasn't much, just a flicker. That evening, I called my daughter, Emily. "Mom, are you okay?" she asked. "I think I want to learn how to fly." I said, "Silence. Fly? As in an airplane?" "Yes, a real one." I could hear her blinking through the phone. "Mom, you're 60. I know. You've never even driven on a highway." She wasn't wrong. I avoided highways for years. Too fast, too many choices, too many exits. I don't know what's happening, I admitted. But I need something. I need to feel alive. She didn't answer for a moment. Then, gently, "Then go feel alive." That night, I Googled flight schools near me. My hands trembled, hovering over the mouse like I was doing something scandalous. I felt like a teenager looking up forbidden things. The next morning, I drove to Skirich Aviation Academy. It was a small building by a quiet airfield, with hangars that looked more like oversized garages than anything glamorous. Inside, it smelled like old leather, jet fuel, and coffee. A tall, sun-worn man behind the desk looked up and smiled. "Can I help you, ma'am?" I hesitated. My voice cracked a little. I want to learn how to fly." He blinked, then smiled wider. "You came to the right place." That was the day it began. Not just flight school, but the unraveling of everything I thought I knew about myself. And the truth was, I didn't know myself at all. They say your first flight lesson changes you. Not because you've mastered anything yet, quite the opposite. You're overwhelmed. But the moment your hands wrap around the yoke for the first time, something inside you shifts. I felt it too, but let me be honest, I was terrified. My instructor's name was Cal Donovan, late 40s, sun-beaten skin, always in a navy blue ball cap and mirrored sunglasses. He looked like someone who belonged in the sky. "You ever flown before?" he asked, stepping up to the Cessna 172. "Only as a passenger," I said nervously. "That's good," he grinned. "You don't have any bad habits yet." He handed me a pair of worn-out headphones and motioned to the co-pilot's seat. The cockpit looked smaller than I imagined. Intimate, confusing, dials, switches, gauges. It might as well have been an alien spacecraft. I slid into the seat and stared out through the windshield at the shimmering heat on the runway. My heart was pounding so loudly, I wondered if it would interfere with the radio signal. "Nervous?" Cal asked. "Completely." "Good. That means you're human. Let's go." He walked me through the pre-flight checklist like he'd done it 1,000 times, and I'm sure he had. But for me, each switch flip felt like lighting a fuse. My fingers trembled, my palms were damp. "Okay," he said. "Start her up." I hesitated. The key was already in the ignition, waiting. "You mean me?" "Yup. Let's hear what this bird has to say." When I turned the key and the propeller roared to life, I jumped slightly. The sound filled my chest. That IT wasn't scary. It was empowering. We taxied to the runway slowly, like an animal waking up. Cal handled the radio chatter with the tower. I just sat there, trying to remember how to breathe. "Ready?" he asked as we lined up. "I don't know," I whispered. "That's the best time to try." The plane began to move. Faster, faster. Suddenly, the wheels weren't touching anything. We were flying. I gasped and my stomach flipped. Below me, the world softened, the cars turned to dots, the roads to strings. The sky, once just a blue ceiling, was now something I was part of. "Here," Kel said, "take the controls." "Are you serious?" "I won't let you crash. Just feel it." I wrapped my hands around the yoke. It was surprisingly sensitive. A tiny movement, and the whole plane responded. I was holding the sky like it was something alive. "Don't fight it," Cal said. "Work with it, like dancing." It wasn't graceful, not even close. But I was flying an airplane. Me, Martha Campbell, widow, retired secretary, afraid of highways. I was flying. We were in the air for less than 40 minutes, but I felt like I had lived a lifetime. When we touched back down, my legs were shaking. "How was that?" Cal asked. "I can't feel my knees." "That's normal. They'll come back." I sat in my car afterward for a long time. I didn't turn the engine on. I just stared at the sky. I wasn't sure where this road was going. I wasn't sure if I had what it takes to keep up. But for the first time in a very long time, I wasn't just existing. I was becoming. The weeks after that first flight were a roller coaster I hadn't expected. Every morning I woke up with a knot in my stomach, equal parts excitement and terror. The idea of climbing into a plane, even a small training aircraft, felt like stepping into a new world where I didn't belong. Sometimes I thought, what am I doing? I'm too old for this. I'm making a fool of myself. Maybe Emily was right. I should just accept that some dreams are for younger people. But then I'd remember the sky that day, the way the wind felt against the wings, the way the world looked different from above. It was freedom. One afternoon, I was sitting in the classroom at Skirich, flipping through the thick manual full of complicated diagrams and technical jargon. I wanted to understand everything: aerodynamics, weather patterns, navigation, but the words swam on the page. Cal noticed my frustration. "You look like you're ready to throw that book out the window," he joked. "If I'm being honest," I said, "I'm not sure my brain's built for this. Maybe I'm just too old to learn." He shook his head. "Martha, age isn't the enemy. Fear is. You're fighting yourself more than the material." He paused, then added softly, "You have to learn to be kind to yourself. Nobody's born knowing how to fly." That hit me harder than I expected. I realized I had been my own worst critic all my life, too cautious, too scared to take risks, too worried about what others thought. But flying was teaching me a different lesson. Courage isn't the absence of fear. It's the choice to push through it. One evening, as I prepared for a night flight lesson, my phone rang. It was Emily. "Mom, how's the flying going?" she asked, her voice warm but cautious. "Hard," I admitted, "but I'm still here, still trying." "I'm proud of you." "Thanks. You know," I said, "I never thought I'd hear that from you." "Well," she said, "maybe you're full of surprises." That night, as I sat alone at the airport, waiting for the sun to set, I thought about all the years I'd wasted waiting for the right moment, for the perfect time. It dawned on me that the perfect time was now, messy, scary, uncertain, but mine. When the sky darkened and the stars appeared, I climbed into the cockpit, once again, ready to chase the horizon, not just above me, but inside me. Night flying was unlike anything I'd ever experienced. The world below was a patchwork of glowing lights, like tiny fireflies trapped in a vast, dark ocean. Up here, in the cockpit, I was suspended between two infinities, the endless sky and the mysterious ground. Cal sat beside me, calm and confident. His voice came through the headset, steady and reassuring. "All right, Martha, we're cleared for takeoff. Remember your instruments, trust them, even when your eyes don't see much." I gripped the yoke, heart hammering. The runway lights stretched before us like a pathway to the unknown. "Ready?" Cal asked. "As I'll ever be," I whispered. We accelerated, and soon the plane lifted into the night, smooth and deliberate. The city lights faded beneath us, replaced by an ocean of stars. For a moment, I forgot my age, my fears, everything that had held me back. I was simply a pilot, navigating the vast, silent space. But then reality hit. "Martha, you're drifting left." "Correct, with a little right rudder." I reached for the controls, fumbling slightly. The plane wobbled, and panic fluttered in my chest. "You okay?" Cal asked. "I'm trying. Don't fight it. Flow with the plane. You're doing great." His words were a lifeline. I closed my eyes for a second, took a deep breath, and let go of the tension. Slowly, I found my rhythm. The plane steadied, that I opened my eyes to the vast expanse outside, and a smile crept across my face. Later, after landing safely, Cal looked at me with a grin. "You handled that like a pro." "Thanks," I said, still trembling. "You know, most young students don't handle night flights this well." His praise felt surreal, like I'd stepped into a story I never thought was mine. The next weeks were a whirlwind of lessons, exams, and endless study. Some days were victories, others crushing defeats. I struggled to memorize airspace rules and navigation charts, and my body ached from the strain of sitting in cramped cockpits for hours. But each challenge pushed me further, reshaping who I was. One afternoon, after a particularly tough simulator test, I sat in the lounge, exhausted and doubting myself. Cal joined me, handing over a cup of coffee. "Remember why you started?" he said quietly. "I want to fly," I said. "Good, because that's the only reason you need." I nodded, feeling a surge of determination. At 60, I was no longer just a woman in a quiet house. I was becoming someone new, someone brave enough to chase the sky. The day of my final flight exam arrived with a mix of excitement and a gnawing fear I couldn't shake. I woke early, the usual morning calm replaced by a pounding heartbeat. For months, I had studied, practiced, and pushed myself beyond every limit I thought I had. Now, everything came down to this one flight, the moment I could prove to myself and to everyone who doubted me that age was no barrier to dreams. Cal met me at the airfield, his familiar grin giving me a spark of comfort. "Ready to show the sky what you're made of?" he asked. "As ready as I'll ever be." I climbed into the cockpit, the weight of the moment settling on my shoulders like the harness strapped around me. The examiner was a stern woman named Lisa Harper, sharp-eyed and no-nonsense. She greeted me briefly, then got right to business. "Martha, today you will demonstrate your ability to handle a variety of situations, normal operations, emergency procedures, navigation, communication. Remember to stay calm and focused." Her words were clear, but inside, a storm was brewing. The engine roared to life, and I taxied to the runway, heart hammering. As we took off, every instrument, Every checklist came rushing back to me, hours of practice crystallizing into action. Halfway through, Lisa threw a curveball, a simulated engine failure. Suddenly, the plane shuddered. "Engine failure," she announced calmly. Panic clawed at me, but I forced myself to breathe. "Cal," I said into the radio, "I'm going to attempt a glide landing." Cal's voice was steady. "You've got this, Martha. Trust your training." I followed, every step, controlled descent, airspeed adjustments, finding a safe landing spot. The ground rushed closer. When the wheels touched down safely on the runway, my entire body released a breath I hadn't realized I was holding. Lisa smiled, a rare softness in her eyes. "Well done, Martha. You passed." Tears filled my eyes. "Thank you," I whispered. I thought about Frank, how he'd always told me to dream bigger, to live fuller. I thought about Emily's words, the doubts, the fears. But most of all, I thought about that woman sitting alone by the window, watching planes fly, and feeling like she'd never belong. Now, I belonged. I was a pilot. At 60, after I passed my final exam, I didn't just feel relief, I felt rebirth. The sky was no longer just a distant dream or a backdrop to my life. It was a part of me, a vast canvas where my story was still unfolding. That evening, I called Emily. "Mom, you did it. I'm so proud." "Thanks, sweetheart," I said. "It wasn't easy." "I know, but you proved something incredible, that it's never too late to start." I smiled, tears welling in my eyes. "I'm ready for the next chapter," I said. The weeks that followed were filled with new adventures. I joined a local flying club, made friends with people decades younger, and learned how to read weather patterns, file flight plans, and even navigate cross-country routes. Flying became my therapy, my passion, my purpose. One day, during a clear, crisp morning flight, I looked out over the horizon and felt a deep peace settle in my chest. I had faced fear, loneliness, and doubt, but I had never given up. I thought about Frank again, that I imagined him smiling, proud that I finally listened to my heart. Being a pilot isn't about age or background. It's about courage, persistence, and the willingness to take off, even when the runway is uncertain. To anyone listening who feels trapped by time or circumstance, I want you to know this. It's never too late. Your sky is waiting. All you have to do is take the first step.